Hello and welcome back to Transit Talks, the podcast where we talk about transport issues across the UK and around the world. I'm William, your presenter, and today we're going to be covering sustainable transport solutions in UK cities. Transport plays a huge role in our daily lives, whether it's commuting to work, going to university, meeting friends, or just travelling around the country. We rely on it heavily to connect with others. But there's also a problem. The transport sector is responsible for a large portion of the UK's energy consumption and carbon emissions. That means finding more sustainable ways to travel is absolutely crucial if we want to reduce its environmental impact in the UK and move towards a greener future. Today, in this episode of Transit Talks, we're going to be exploring some of the most interesting sustainable transport initiatives happening in cities across the UK. We'll also talk about things like cycle lanes, public transport networks, electric buses, congestion charges, and new technologies that are helping us reshape how people move around cities. We'll focus on three key locations: London, Manchester, and Cambridge. Each city has taken its own approach to building a more sustainable transport system, and each provides a fascinating example of how cities can adapt to modern environmental challenges. So, let's start off by talking about a general concept of sustainable transport. Sustainable transport often refers to transport systems that minimize environmental impact while still meeting people's general mobility needs. In simple terms, it's finding ways for people to move around without damaging the environment. There are several key strategies here used in sustainable transport systems. The first is active travel, which includes walking and cycling. There are some of the most environmentally friendly forms of transport because they produce no emissions and also improve public health significantly. The second is public transport, such as buses, trams, and trains. When large numbers of people travel together in using shared vehicles, it dramatically reduces the number of cars on the road and minimizes congestion. Third, we have policy measures such as congestion charges and low emission zones. These policies encourage people to reconsider how they travel, often pushing them toward a greener alternative. And finally, there's greener technology, which we were discussing in 2 episodes ago, which includes things like electric cars and renewable energy powered transport. The UK has been investing heavily in all of these areas, and many cities are starting to see real improvements in air quality, congestion levels, and energy efficiency. But perhaps no UK city is more famous for its transport system than London. So let's talk about London, the UK's capital and one of the most busiest cities in Europe, if not the world. London's transport network is massive. Millions of journeys take place every day across buses, trains, underground railways, bicycles, and even river transport. One of the most famous elements of the London transport, as I'm sure we all know, is the London Underground, or commonly known as the Tube. The Underground is one of the most oldest metro systems in the world, yet remains one of the most important parts of London's transport network today. Because the Underground connects so many parts of the city and runs extremely frequently, it provides a reliable alternative to driving. By moving millions of people under the ground every day, it significantly reduces traffic congestion and helps lower carbon emissions. The idea that you can just go underground, go on a train, and pop up on the other side of the city where you started is amazing. Another important part of London's sustainable transport system is its bus network, the iconic London bus. London has invested heavily in low emission buses, including hybrid and fully electric buses. These buses are far quieter and produce far fewer emissions than traditional diesel buses. This transition can be led by Transport for London, which oversees most public transport in the city. But public transport isn't the only focus. London has also tried to encourage people to cycle more. One of the most recognisable initiatives by Santander cycle schemes, many people still refer to them as Boris bikes actually, named after the former London Mayor Boris Johnson who helped introduce the scheme. These bright red bicycles can be rented from docking stations around the city. They're relatively cheap and easy to access and ideal for shorter journeys. Because of this convenience, thousands of people now choose to cycle instead of using taxis or driving short distances. This not only reduces congestion on the roads, but also improves public health and fitness for many Londoners. due to the lack of emissions. Another major policy introduced in London is the London Congestion Charge. The congestion charge was introduced in 2003 and requires drivers to pay a fee if they want to enter certain parts of central London during busy hours. The goal is simple: reduce traffic and encourage people to use other forms of transport. By making driving more expensive in busy areas, the congestion charge pushes London's commuters towards public transport, cycling, or walking. Interestingly, the money generated from the congestion charge is reinvested into improving public transport services, and this means that the system helps fund its own sustainable alternatives. Another important transport system around London is the Docklands Light Railway, often called the DLR. The DLR connects eastern parts of the city, including areas such as London's financial hub, Canary Wharf, and London City Airport, as well as the ExCeL Centre events venue. Together, these different systems show how London has built a transport network designed to reduce car dependency while still allowing millions of people to travel efficiently. However, London isn't the only city trying to modernise its transport system. Let's move up north now to the vibrant city of Manchester. Our next stop on the journey, Manchester, is one of the largest and fastest growing cities in the UK. Manchester has taken a different approach to sustainable transports, focusing heavily on integration between different types of transports. One of the most important parts of the city's scheme is the Manchester Metrolink. The Metrolink is a large tram network that connects Manchester city centre with many surrounding suburbs and towns. With 99 stops and around 64 miles of track, it plays a significant role in keeping passengers connected. In fact, in the 2024 to 2025 financial year, the Metrolink recorded around 45 million passenger journeys. This reflects how important it is in the region's public transport network. The tram system plays a huge role in reducing car usage because it provides a fast and reliable way to travel across Greater Manchester. However, Manchester's biggest innovation is something called the B network. The bus network is also impressive, with over 250 routes serving 12,582 bus stops. Manchester has made history by being the first city outside of London to bring all local bus services under control and be part of one network, which is known as the B network. They are also looking into bringing 8 local commuter services on board through to 2028, with all local train services being part of the B network by 2030. As well as focusing on improving transit throughout the city, Manchester is also focusing on keeping fares low. The aim is to have a single bus fare costing £2 for adults and £1 for under 16s or children. Following that, the B network is also introducing the Tap to Go system, which is a payment method to make quicker and easier to pay for your journey. This will be implemented on buses and trams. As we can see, the B network is fundamental for the city. For example, it helps aid Manchester's strategy to support a growing population by building 175,000 new homes and creating around 100,000 new jobs. Furthermore, it plays a key role in Greater Manchester's collective and ambitious target of achieving carbon neutral living by 2038. Following the B network's launch, bus usage within Greater Manchester has seen a significant increase, with the number of bus journeys increasing by 14% in the first franchising areas. This reflects a growing public trust in the B network and its ability to meet people's transportation needs. There is no doubt that the Manchester B network is a significant step to creating a modern, efficient, and sustainable transport system that connects communities and supports the region's growth. This suggests that when public transport becomes more reliable, affordable, and easy to use, more people are willing to use it. Now let's move back down south to Cambridge, a city that is famous for not just its university but also its cycling culture. Cambridge is often considered as one of the most cycle-friendly cities in the UK. Large numbers of residents and students travel by bike every day, partly because many students at the Cambridge University rely on bicycles rather than cars. As a result of this, cycling infrastructure has become a key feature of the city. You'll find cycle lanes, bike parking areas, and traffic systems designed specifically for cyclists. Cycling provides a number of benefits as well. It reduces carbon emissions, lowers congestion rates, improves air quality, and also supports healthier lifestyles. Cambridge has also begun introducing electric buses, particularly for its park and ride services. These buses transport passengers from car parks outside the city to the city centre. Cambridge also offers micro-mobility options such as e-bikes and e-scooters. These small electric vehicles are ideal for shorter trips around the city and provide a low-carbon alternative. Together, cycling, electric buses, and micro-mobility have helped Cambridge become one of the UK's leading examples of sustainable transport. So, what can we learn from these cities? Well, across the UK, it's clear that sustainable transport requires a combination of technology, infrastructure, and policy. London shows how large scale public transport networks and policies like congestion charges can reduce car use. Manchester demonstrates the power of integrated transport systems like the B network, and Cambridge highlights how active travel, especially cycling, can transform how people move around the city. Each city faces its own challenges, but they all share the same goal: creating cleaner, healthier, and more efficient ways for people to travel. As climate concerns continue to grow, sustainable transport will likely become even more important in the years ahead. Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you enjoyed this episode, please make sure you follow us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify, and please recommend us to a friend as well. And join us next time as we explore transport issues across the UK and around the world.